There's another thing about the Spanish Empire that many just don't know, or they don't realize, or they don't want to know it because it goes against the indoctrination they received. The Spanish, as I mentioned before, Spain was not a country. It was not one nation. It was a union of crowns. So in the Americas, they extended the crown of Castile by establishing kingdoms over here. But who helped Spain conquering the Americas? Blacks did. They imported blacks from Africa who did the dirty job for them. And blacks also constructed many of the roads, many of the buildings. The buildings mean the universities, the academies, the libraries, the theaters, the government buildings like this one over here. Blacks did it. And there were blacks that became a kind of aristocracy in the Americas. Not all those blacks worked hard on plantations, even though many did. Now, I'm not saying that blacks were, how I say, praised and honored. They were oppressed even when they had positions of authority in the Americas under Spain and Portugal. They were oppressed. Don't get things twisted, but the Spanish Empire, that includes the Portuguese Empire, would not have existed without the labor and the work of blacks. In the 19th century, when the Spanish Empire faded away and the British Empire took over together with the French Empire, this myth of white supremacy was enforced worldwide again. It was enforced already in the past, in antiquity, but now it was enforced. And I would say it was enforced directly on the people again. It used to be a fake memory in a collective conscience of people, but the British Empire made it clear whites are supreme. And in the 19th century, the accomplishments of blacks were forgotten. Well, I'm here to remind you, blacks, despite that you had white Spaniards, and not all Spaniards were white. There were dark-skinned Spaniards also. Blacks built the Spanish and Portuguese empires. The #1 economic zone for centuries in the world was the Spanish Empire. The Spanish dollar was the international currency. But who made it all possible? Blacks. That's why in the early 19th century, when this Spanish court that took over the government came with this regulation that certain blacks, or better said, these blacks in general, would not be Spaniards nor see Spanish nationality, they had a lot of trouble. So they abolished that policy quickly, and when King Ferdinand VII returned to the throne, officially he abolished the Cádiz Cortés. The Spanish Empire soon afterwards faded away. Nevertheless, I'm here to remind you, blacks contributed to the Spanish kingdoms in the Americas, and they also contributed to this building. They did. And here's the thing. Let me say this. White supremacist propaganda doesn't want you to know all of that. They want you to think blacks did nothing throughout history except being slaves and being savages in Western Africa. That's not true. That's what I meant with people distorting history by giving you a false interpretation thereof to mislead you. Because if you don't know history, they can do that, they can get away with it. And if they can do that to you, they can program you to be self-destructive and anti-Christ without you being aware of it. So ignorance is not bliss. You have natural ignorance because you don't know everything. For example, I don't know what's exactly behind this building. I don't know what's going to happen exactly 50 minutes from now. I don't know everything. This is natural ignorance. But then you have constructed ignorance, which is ignorance that society made by not informing you well. And then you also have willing ignorance, when people just don't want to know, just want to be left alone. Now that last part is very dumb, because by doing that, you are doing harm to yourself, because anyone can deceive you then. A lot of folks are willingly ignorant. Many are constructed ignorant, they don't know any better, but many are willingly ignorant. But willing ignorance is not an excuse. People say ignorance is not an excuse. That phrase is wrong. Willing ignorance is not an excuse. You don't know everything, so people can't expect you to know everything. That's dumb if people expect that. But willing ignorance, not wanting to know anything, just wanting to will whatever you will, that's wrong. Well said for now. Keep agreeing with Christ and be at peace.